of Eden, the story of the killer whales of Twofold Bay by Tom Mead.
You're looking at, for a start, is not a whale. That's a grampus orca, commonly known as the killer whale. Fastest, fierce, and one of the most dreaded things that swam in the sea. Feared by everything that moved in the ocean, from the biggest whale to a penguin. The mystery of him is that shore whaling in Eden is one of the unsolved mysteries of the world. There's no explanation, for this is the only place in the world where the sea monster joined in with man in catching whales. Without them, you'd have caught no whales, only a few stragglers come in the bay. The skill of whales pass away on the skyline, going north punctually from June to November. The killers arrived here from the Antarctics punctually from June to November, made their headquarters over near where the chip mill is. The whalers knew the whales were coming, the killers arrived. When the whales came, they formed up in a teamwork, went away out on the skyline about 20 miles out to sea, brought the whales into the bay like dogs drove cattle. Now when they brought them in the bay, they hoped to catch them. They were never trained, they only come here from June till November. They were protected in Eden. If a whale boat got wrecked here, they swam around and kept the sharks away till you picked up. Now as soon as they left Eden, they eat anything that moved in the ocean, from the biggest whale to a penguin. The deep sea whalers shot them wherever they see them. They left Eden, they were a curse and a pest. Tore their whales, broke lines, smashed boats you wasn't safe in the water. So they shot them out wherever they see them. They shot them out, all out by old Tom. They had them all named, you know. Whale chasing all destroy. There's your boat you call a 30-foot surf boat. A couple had 7 men, others had 5. There's the man at the back on the big sweep oar. Up in the front, there's the man with a harpoon. He's got a piece of that deck and his legs stuck there. That's all the balance he's got. There's the tail of a whale, there's a whale blade. As soon as they swing the boat in again, he's going to try and drive that lance in between that fellow's ribs and his heart and kill him. He's blowing there. You only got to watch out for his tail. That's the only thing that's dangerous. Now, yes, there's a rope running from that harpoon across to that whale. You might see it there. And when they made fast a whale like that, you know, old Tom the killer used to race up alongside that boat now. I'm not talking, am I? Drain the water off the big tail, grab that rope in his mouth and hang on to the whale. The men on the boat used to curse him. He's in between the whale and the boat now. Look, and the fella can't get a go to lance the whale. The whale will go down. You'll be 20 minutes playing that rope and hauled in. Next time she comes up to breathe a blow. And over the course of 100 years, you know, grabbing ropes and hanging on to whales, Tom could be anything to 120-year-old when he died. But over the course of 100 years, you know, grabbing ropes and hanging on to whales, you see the rope sawed all his teeth off. There's the last tooth, it's nearly cut in two, see. Rope's got that nearly sawn off over 100 years. Grabbing ropes and hanging on to whales. Once he left Eden, he'd have eaten men whale and all. Without them, you wouldn't have went 20 miles out to sea in a 30-foot surf boat chasing whales. Now, boat right up on top of the whale's back there, boatmen and all. Too far up and over he'll go, get hit with a tail and broke up. There he is blown. You see the man standing in the bow of the boat, old George Davis, and George used to jump out on top of the whale, get the boat off and get away. He was known as Fearless George. That was his nickname. That wasn't showmanship or acrobatic tricks or funny stunts, for there was nobody to clap and laugh out there, only seagulls and sharks, and they didn't appreciate any of your funny acts, no matter how smart you thought you was. Well, the whales come up too far forward on you, right up on the whale's tail there. There's your boat coming over. She's going down stern first. They're all jumping out and falling out as the boat comes over. A job for old Solomon, getting a new boat for you. You wrecked the boats and Solomon supplied him. He had a store just behind the museum here. Shore whaling for 100 years. The whales they caught, the gear they used, now the sea monster worked with them. One of the unsolved mysteries of the world. For it is the only place in the world where the sea monster joined in with man in catching whales. And there's a model of Tom, that's what he looked like. See, black with them white bands round him, as you see there. You'll see there's a knob just near the top of that fin there. Tom was the only bloke that had that. Knob on top of the fin, the white band across his back. As I told you, they were all differently marked and figured, no two alike. Those teeth on the floor, that's the bottom jaw bones of a sperm whale. That's the whale you got the ambergris from. He frequents around South Australia and New Zealand where the giant squid and the big shark are. A good whale in the olden days, the ambergris and whale oil, they say, is worth £5,000. That gear you see laying across there, there's the old whaling gear. There's a harpoon, a lance and a flensing knife. The thing with the piece across the top there's the harpoon. Now you shut it up, put a little wooden peg in there. You got up alongside the whale, you get the killers to get him knocked up, you drove that into the whale as far as you could drive it. As soon as it goes to pull out, see the little peg breaks, that opens up like you see it there. Your boat's tied to the whale. Now where the whale goes, you go, he's towing you. Ship your oars, sit back down, enjoy the ride. As the whale goes down, you play that rope. As he's coming up, you keep the rope tight, hold and watch out for his tail. The next long thing, there's the lance. That was as sharp as a razor. When the whale surfaced again, you see where his tail is. They're going to try and dive that in between his ribs and his heart and kill him. Now the next one along here, there's that gun. You never used that gun while you could use the lance. It cost £1 a shot to fire, and the explosion frightened the killers away. They used to have a rope tied in the stock of that. That was tied to the seat of the boat. If you got kicked out, well, they didn't lose the gun. You'd soon get another man, but that cost money. There's a whale there. He's about 45 ton. If you look, they got his tail cut off. They're going to start stripping the blubber. All those big grooves, that's what a whale looks like. And then if you call them stabilisers on a boat, they keep him from rolling. See, if he didn't have to be going around like a bottle in the water. As they expand, they open up, the water comes in there. That keeps him as perpendicular up and down the water. Lifts him up and helps to float him. Here's a wild chase. There's your harpoon boat. You got a harpoon that way, you follow that rope, it's going up through there. They broke that rope. They got another harpoon, there's the picker boat standing by. Now there's the killer. See the big fins stand up in the water? Now they are bringing that whale in off the high sea like dogs driving cattle. And they bring him in the bay, they're going to help catch him now. Now you've all heard of the First World War. There's whalebone. That little piece on that piece on the other side, and you got the full mouth. Up to the time in the First World War, that's how poor old grandma was dressed. Whalebone for your corsets. They made women's corsets, collars, combs, brushes, hats, feathers, you name it, and they made it. A good whale had a couple of hundredweight in his mouth, worth £180 a ton one time. It's junk today, you get a bit of plastic. Now, right, well, there's a piece of whalebone there. See the boy standing alongside of the, he's inside the whale's mouth and his mouth shut. That's how big his mouth is with the whale shut. The proper name of that is baleen, commonly known as whalebone. Now there's a picture of old Tom. If you look, see the knob on the fin up there and the white band across his back. Tom was the only bloke that had that. That fin is 5'6" high there. There was no bone structure in that tail, that's why there's none in the skeleton. That's made of cartilage stuff. Now there's Tom there, sitting up on the thin, the white band across his back. Now there's Humpy. Humpy's been bashed around that much at tails a while, he's got no fin left, look. Now there's Hooky. Bit further on. No, the other way. And there's Hooky, see he's been hit, he's got a broken fin, the white band across his back. Now there's Teepee, see a white band across his back, a white star, and he's got a white band behind the fin. The fin's hooked back. There's Jackson. He's got a white band in front and the top of the fin hooks forward. See, they're all differently marked and figured, no two alike. Right? There's a wild chase, the killer's bringing a whale in, see, off South Head. See the big fins, there's the tail of a whale and another bloke blowing. That lighthouse. There's Boyd's old tower. They used to have a look out there, watching for the killers bringing the whales in. Now when they seen the killers coming in with the whales, get that boat in, will you? There's your boat. They climbed down, got in them boats, and joined in with killing. Now when the killers bring the whale into the bay and they're going in for a kill now, each bloke knows what his job is, where he's got to go and what he's got to do. Nobody gets in nobody's road. Each one knows what part he's got to take in it. Now one will go each side the whale's mouth now. They'll grab him by the cheeks and pull his mouth open. Soon they do, the next fellow grabs him by the tongue. The whale can't shut his mouth. He's got a neck and a mouth full of water. He's drowned. The whale will dive to get rid of him as he thinks. Down he goes. Now when he goes down, them four killers hang on to him and down they go with him. The rest of the pack follow the chase round on the surface. They're right over top. They know just when she's going to breathe or blow again. Soon as the whale hits the surface, before he's time to get his breath, these four knock off and the next relay takes over and down she goes again. Now when you kill the whale, you put an anchor and a marker on him. You know where your whale is. As soon as the whale's dead, they'll grab the whale and pull him down to the bottom of the bay. The whale stopped there for 24 hours. They went down and eat the cheeks and tongue. That's all they took. They weren't bad. They went you 50-50 in the kill. They took the cheeks and tongue and threw you the blubber. After 24 hours, the gas in the body brings the whale to the surface. He'll float well for a time now till he gets waterlogged. The whalers know when he's up, they'll bow with their boats and they'll work him the tide up or down the bay. They steered him, the tide carried him along. These killers, they escorted you over. Keep the sharks away. Sharks everywhere now, you know, but no sharks will come near where they are. When they got over at the bottom down works, they swim out to sea and look for more whales. They were never trained. They only come here from June till November. One of the unsolved mysteries of the world. For it is the only place in the world where the sea monster joined in with man in catching whales. Right, well, if you have a look there, here's a whale. They got the blubber stripped off and that baleen or whalebone taken out of his mouth. After that, that was all waste. You had to get it on a good tide and get it out to sea. Well, of course, today they don't waste nothing, you know. What they don't eat, they turn into fish meal. And after fish meal, the rest of it, bones and all, go through a sausage machine thing, ground up in a fertiliser. Nothing wasted today. Now, in the good old days, if you have a look, you'll see a man's head sticking in that hole there. Look with a hat on. In the good old days, if you had rheumatics, arthritis, rheumatism, any ism or autism at all, you came down here and you paid your board for a week. You paid 10 shillings for a course in the whale. They cut a hole in the carcass like that, drove some pegs in, put a bit of airship around. You get in there and strip off now, climb down that hole up to your ears like that man, stop there a couple of hours every day for a week. That's if you're good. You had to be good though. Well, the heat and the fumes got in the pores of your skin and cured your ailments forever after. No germ will look in the face after that, not even a rheumatic germ. Now, the man you see in the hole there, he was a doctor in Bombala many years, 1900. He used to charge you 10 bob for a box of pills for your medics, you know, kill or cure. They didn't kill and they didn't cure either. 1900 he came down here, had his photo taken there, get rid of his own rheumatics. He took 4 gallons of whale all home with him when he went in case he got a relapse. Now if you're out there and you catch a whale, just do what I tell you, will you? Keep on the wind siding. Always have the wind blown off you onto the whale. If you do that, there's nothing wrong with the whale. Don't get on the other side, will you? There's a whale diving there. See his big tail turn over like a big eagle hawk coming down. There's the water running off it. So he's going down. Next one now, there's a whale. You know, today if you go to motor car, they've got to send a mobile as soon as you get in that boat. In the good old days, we never ran out of spare parts. That whale's laying on his back. They're going to start stripping the blubber. They got him tied to a limber tree so that he can't drift away, see, while they cut the blubber off. Now, you can't get nothing cruder than that, you know. Break that limb, you soon get another one. Plenty of spare parts around there, ain't they? Here's the bottom jaw bones of an ordinary size whale. He's about 45 to 50 ton. That's his bottom jaw bones there. If you look, he's got no teeth. He never used any. He eat nothing bigger than a grain of rice. Plankton floats in great volumes in the sea out here. Here's a vertebrae about a 45 to 50 ton whale. That's one of his vertebrae there. Here's the vertebrae of the largest whale ever hand harpooned by man in any part of the world, ever was or ever will be. They shoot him with a gun today. He was caught over the bay with a chip militia in 1908, 97 ton. That skeleton you're looking at, that's 22 foot. His mouth was 23 foot 8. The whaleboat was 30 foot, another couple of feet. He had a boathouse in his mouth. This room is 24 foot, of course. He was 24 foot from one fin to the other. The whaleboat was 30 foot, another couple of feet. He had a boathouse in his mouth, eh?
Now, Paul, you hold this.
In memory of Peter Lyon, who was killed by a whale September 28, 1881, aged 22 years.